Supporter, hold on to this one. Sandro Tonali might be about to sign a secret contract that could completely change the future of Newcastle United. Yes, today's main story is all about him, and what's happening behind the scenes will honestly leave you speechless. But calm down, because before we get to this Tonali bombshell, there's a lot we need to talk about, from what's been keeping Eddie Howe awake at night to the brilliant show that took over St. James Park in recent days. I'm Rodrigo, and this is Newcastle Mania, the channel made by fans and for fans of Newcastle United. And look, you blinked, and Newcastle are making headlines everywhere. Injuries, incredible performances, and a contract twist that could shake the entire club. It's all here. And the biggest story comes at the end, so make sure you stay with me until then. Now before we begin, let me ask you something. Lately, some Chelsea fans have been leaving comments saying this Newcastle channel doesn't grow because our fanbase is too small. Shall we show them who the real black and white army is? If you love Newcastle and want to see this club flying higher than ever, hit that subscribe button right now. It costs nothing, and it makes a huge difference. Let's shut them up together. News 1. The injury crisis and Ramsey's return. Newcastle are back in Premier League action after the international break, and while the excitement is high, the atmosphere behind the scenes has been tense. Eddie Howe has confirmed that the club is facing a worrying wave of injuries, leaving the squad shorter and shorter, something that's already affecting both performance and tactical options. For the match against Brighton and Hove Albion, Howe decided to keep the same core that's been working so well recently, the same setup that secured solid wins over Union St. Gilois and Nottingham Forest. Nick Pope remains the wall in goal, Kieran Trippier and Dan Burn are steady on the flanks, while Malik Thiaw and Sven Botman form the centre-back duo. In midfield, that trio that's basically the heartbeat of the team, Tonali, Bruno Guimaraes and Joe Linton, the ones who control the tempo, balance defense and attack, and give the team its rhythm. Up front, the spotlight is still on Nick Woltemade, who's on fire for goals in his last 5 matches. The young German is quickly winning the hearts of the fans. Alongside him, Anthony Elanga and Anthony Gordon bring pace and aggression, 2 key weapons in Newcastle's high-intensity attacking style. But the big news, and a real boost for Howe, is the return of Jacob Ramsey. The English midfielder, signed for £39 million, is back after missing 7 matches with an ankle injury. Ramsey was one of the most anticipated signings of the season, and the manager made sure to talk about his comeback in the press conference. JJ's been training well, but we don't want to rush him. He needs to build rhythm, but we're really happy with his progress. He's worked hard and deserves this moment. Ramsey is expected to start on the bench, but his return gives Howe more tactical flexibility, since he can play both as an attacking midfielder or out wide on the left. That's something Howe values a lot, especially with the lack of options in midfield and on the wings. Even so, the injury situation remains worrying. Tino Livramento, Lewis Hall and Yoane Wissa are all still sidelined, with uncertain return dates. Behind the scenes, the mood is cautious. The staff don't want to repeat past mistakes when players came back too early and ended up injured again. Eddie Howe also took the chance to mention the draw against Brighton last season, a match that felt frustrating at the time, but later proved vital in securing a Champions League spot. At that moment, it felt like drop points. But looking back, that draw was gold. Every point counts, and the Premier League is ruthless. The difference now is that a draw isn't enough anymore. Newcastle need a win to build momentum, regain confidence, and prove they still have the strength to fight near the top. And with so many absences and a tough opponent ahead, Ramsey's return could be exactly the spark needed to reignite the midfield and push the team towards a comeback. The atmosphere is tense, St. James Park is about to explode again, and every fan knows this is the kind of match that sets the tone for the rest of the season. News 2. The hell of St. James Park and Mourinho's nightmare. And while things have been tense in the Premier League, the Champions League was all about celebration. Newcastle absolutely smashed Jose Mourinho's Benfica 3-0 in a magical night at St. James Park. Anthony Gordon opened the scoring, and Harvey Barnes came off the bench to bag 2 more and seal the deal. It was the kind of performance that reminded everyone what this team is truly about: intensity, togetherness, and that electric energy that only St. James Park can create. The funny part, Mourinho had warned his Benfica players beforehand. He told them they were about to face an extraordinary stadium. But it looks like his team didn't quite believe him, because when the crowd exploded in the second half, Benfica completely crumbled. Even former players have called St. James Park a living hell, and Mourinho felt it firsthand, sweating on the touchline as the fans chanted the name of Sir Bobby Robson. But beyond the celebrations, the game also brought some really positive signs. Jacob Murphy made a solid return, Gordon was the man of the match, and Barnes showed once again why he's one of the most dangerous weapons in the squad. Oh, and here's a fun fact, Newcastle broke a 22-year record. It was the first time since 2003 that the club has won back-to-back Champions League games. That result pushed the Magpies up to 7th in the Champions League table, with a goal difference of +6. And with another home match against Athletic Bilbao coming up, let's be honest, it's perfectly fine to dream big. News 3. The main one, Tonali's secret contract. Alright, lads, now it's time for the bombshell of the day. The name on everyone's lips, Sandro Tonali. The Italian is back in the spotlight, but this time, not because of a goal, not because of a brilliant performance. It's because of a secret contract the club tried to keep far away from the headlines. According to sources inside Newcastle United, Tonali's deal, which was originally set to run until 2028, has already been quietly extended until 2029, with an option for another year, taking it all the way to 2030. That means, if everything goes to plan, Tonali could wear black and white for almost a decade. But what's truly fascinating isn't the length, it's the message behind this move. Even after the chaos of his FIFA suspension over betting issues, Newcastle never turned their back on him. Quite the opposite. The club stood by his side, offered psychological support, kept paying his wages, and showed complete trust that he'd come back stronger. And now, it looks like the club wants to reward that loyalty with a contract that places Tonali among the squad's most valued players. It's a symbolic and strategic gesture that makes one thing crystal clear: Eddie Howe and the board see Tonali as a core part of the club's long-term vision. Behind the scenes, some say this quiet renewal was done precisely to block any approach from Juventus or AC Milan, both still keeping an eye on a potential Serie A comeback. But let's be honest, neither of those clubs have the financial power to take Tonali out of Tyneside right now. And truth be told, he doesn't even seem to want to leave. In a recent interview, Tonali said it himself: "I don't close the door on Italy, it's my home. But I've found my balance here. The level in the Premier League is incredible." Those words say everything. Tonali feels he owes Newcastle, and every fan knows exactly why. While most clubs would have walked away from a suspended player, Newcastle embraced him, stood firm, and believed in his redemption, something rare in modern football. And Tonali knows that. You can see it in the way he plays. There's a fire in his eyes, a hunger to give back everything he's received. Now, new sporting director Ross Wilson has already started talks with Tonali's representatives to make this new deal official. There's no rush, the club's relaxed about it because they see Tonali as a key midfield piece for years to come. Eddie Howe, as always, was direct when speaking about him. Technically, he's outstanding. We want him on the ball more, playing with freedom, becoming an even greater threat going forward. So, Howe wants Tonali to be more of a playmaker, more decisive, not just a deep midfielder protecting the defense, but a complete one controlling and finishing attacks. Even Paul Scholes, yes, that Paul Scholes, had massive praise for him. "I love Tonali at Newcastle. He runs, he creates, and has been brilliant. I actually prefer him to Declan Rice." When a legend like Scholes says that, you know you're dealing with someone special. And what's even more impressive, Tonali's only 25. He's already seen as a pillar of Newcastle's long-term project, the kind of player who could become a club legend if he stays on this path. So, lads, the message couldn't be clearer. Sandro Tonali is both the present and the future of Newcastle United. If this renewal becomes official, Newcastle won't just secure one of Europe's brightest talents, they'll send a powerful message across the continent. The black and white project isn't temporary. It's long-term, ambitious, and built on loyalty. Mark my words, this is the kind of news that changes a club's future. Now, tell me, lads, do you think this renewal will be announced in the coming weeks? Could Tonali become the true leader of this new Newcastle era? Drop your thoughts down in the comments. I want to know what you think. And of course, don't forget to subscribe, turn on the bell, and join the most passionate fan base in England. Because at Newcastle United, the story never stops. Every day brings emotion, news, and pride in wearing black and white. See you in the next video, lads.